Good morning and welcome to Football League World TV. My name is Ned Holmes and I'm joined by my colleague Billy Mulley for the first of 3 EFL Transfer Zone shows on deadline day. How are you doing this morning, Billy? Excited about what looks likely to be a really exciting day of EFL transfers, hopefully.
Yeah, it started on a positive note. Lots happening already. Very difficult to keep up with everything that's going on at the moment. But yeah, exciting times ahead of us, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, there's already been plenty of done deals, plenty of rumours out there. Myself and Billy going to get our teeth sort of dug into the biggest ones at the moment. But before we get started, as always, a reminder, please do like and share this video. Subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube if you haven't already, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Are you expecting your club to make any signings today? Are there any they need to do, or any players that you'd absolutely love to get rid of? Well, Billy, we're going to start with the done deals. 3 at Sunderland for new manager Tony Mowbray yesterday. Manchester United winger Amad Diallo signs on loan. PSG playmaker Edouard Michou joining him on loan as well. An option to buy there, we believe. And defensive midfielder Abdoullah Ba signs permanently from Le Havre, another France under-19 international. Sunderland, Billy, continuing to add some exciting young players to their squad.
Yeah, 3 really exciting additions to go on top of an already exciting squad. Looking at the team that played last night, the team pretty much that won them promotion, that's good enough. And you add these 3 additions. You add Dan Ballard when he's back fit, Ellis Sims, of course, as well. It's been a real strong summer of recruitment. Admittedly, they'd like to have done a few of these deals a little bit quicker, but given the whole situation with Alex Neil and then Tony Mowbray coming in, of course that probably adds a little bit of delay. But 3 very eye-catching signings. Diallo, I think most Championship clubs would have been thrilled with that signing. £38 million, I think he was, for when Manchester United signed him. Obviously, didn't quite work out at Rangers. Showed glimpses of his quality. But hopefully he can get it right in the Championship, and he's one of those players that has incredibly high ceiling. And if Tony Mowbray can get the best out of him, which he does tend to do with young wingers and young attackers, I'm sure he's going to be a real decent addition. Michou, another one that again hasn't played Championship football, so it's hard to really determine where he's at. But the reviews he's been given so far, very exciting. A player that looks like he's going to be able to carve defences open at will. A player that probably would still be in favour at PSG, hadn't there been somewhat of a falling out. But I think that's come at Sunderland's benefit. And then Barr as well. I can see him kind of like the signing of Noah Mazengo when he joined Bristol City, where a young French teenager coming into a midfield, and the ceiling again is very high. And if he turns out anything like Mazengo, I'm sure Sunderland fans will be happy with that. He might be one that may have to wait for regular game time at the start of the campaign, but I'm sure he's one that will come good. 3 really impressive additions at Sunderland, and by the talks of it, there could be a couple more before the close of play. But as we say, Sunderland coming into their first season back in the Championship, there's always the desire just to stay in the division. But don't want to jinx anything, but it's been very impressive, and they should be setting their sights a lot higher than that.
Yeah, as you say, an exciting trio of signings there, and it sounds like from Tony Mowbray's press conference yesterday, he told club media afterwards that they're expecting a few more, that they've been working hard. Reports suggesting they're still in the market for another backup goalkeeper, a centre-back and a striker. So it could be a really exciting finish to the window for Sunderland fans. Help them forget about that frustrating news with Alex Neil, of course. We'll move on to another done deal in the Championship then. Blackburn Rovers have signed striker George Hurst on loan from Leicester, an option to buy in that one, Billy. He impressed at Portsmouth last season, 15 goals in all comps for a side that I guess failed to really properly fire at League One level. An exciting player at League One level. Do you back him to step up to the Championship now?
Yeah, I think he's got all the desirable attributes to thrive in the Championship. He's, a real physical presence. He combines well with forward players in the midfield too. He's also got that sort of relentlessness about him. So yeah, I'm backing him to thrive in the Championship. We saw at Portsmouth he didn't get off to the best of starts. It was more of a slower start, and come the end of the season, he entered that kind of unplayable form. But yeah, I think this could be a really, really strong addition for Blackburn, of course, with the option to make it permanent. I think that really adds that an extra layer of excitement about this deal. He's somebody that, let's talk about Brereton Diaz, whether he'll be at the club come the end of tonight. He's somebody that probably could fill his shoes in years to come, because he's got lots of raw talents, and coached by a manager like Dal Thomason that's got a good track record of progressing young players. I think that Hurst is going to have a successful time. He might have to bide his time at the start, given the competition levels, given the fact that Blackburn do have some very, very exciting attacking options, but in amidst those attacking options, there's real creativity, and I think that's where Hurst will really thrive. He'll play off that excellent service that he'll be provided with at Blackburn, and again, seeing off a lot of competition to make that signing. So again, something must be going right at Blackburn to do that. I know Ipswich were very, very much interested in him, and I know that's a division below, but with what Ipswich can pay and the ambitions of the club, is pretty much like a Championship club at this rate. So yeah, a very, very good addition, seen off competition, and one that I'm going to keep a close eye to, because I think he can have a really successful time in the Championship with Blackburn.
Yeah, as you say, potentially with that option to buy a long-term replacement for Ben Brereton Diaz, and as we'll go on to talk about a bit later, might have to be a short-term replacement as well. You talk about Rovers winning the race for him. Really, I think you just got to look at the sort of the breeding ground it's been. If you look at players like Adam Armstrong and now Brereton Diaz, Hurst has got to look at the club as a fantastic stepping stone, and it seems that's helped them win the race for him. Dropping down to League One, then Billy, for another done deal. Liverpool left back Owen Beck has signed on loan for Bolton. He was at Famalicão in the Portuguese top flight, but that deal's been cancelled to allow this one to happen. Billy, with Jack Ardale and Declan John already in the squad, Ian Everett's got some fantastic options on that left flank, hasn't he? And Bolton are they're going to be flying down that left flank this season.
Yeah, when you consider Afolayan can also play slightly ahead on the left wing, it's some very, very strong options on that left-hand side. I think first looking at the deal, I was a little bit confused, given you've already got Iredale and John, two very competent left-sided defenders or wing backs, or wherever you decide to play them. But looking at Iredale, what he brings to a game of football, his progressive abilities and defensive abilities too. He can step into that left-sided centre-back role, which offers Beck a clearer pathway to the first team. Of course, competition is rife, so it's going to be difficult for him to see regular minutes. And after cancelling that loan deal, after not seeing too much game time, and then putting him in a side where there's already two very strong left wing backs, it caught me by surprise. But there's definitely potential for Beck to play regularly. I think Liverpool have probably seen Conor Bradley's progression over the last month or so, and can trust Bolton with their progression. Again, I think that's something that could help get the best out of the two wing backs, Bradley and Beck, having each other in the side, know each other very well. And yeah, I think if Iredale does drop into left side centre back role, then it's definitely a real opportunity for Beck to thrive in that position. And Bolton, I'm really excited about what they can do this season, given some really good displays already, some excellent midfield talent. Defensively, they've improved, and of course up top as well, some excellent options in Afolayan playing just off. Dion Charles. It's going to be an exciting season, and that's another really, really strong addition.
Absolutely. Well, for our final done deal, then we'll move down to League Two. Bradford City, two done deals there this morning. They've signed Aston Villa winger Tyreek Wright and Luton's Dion Pereira on season-long loans. They continue to back Mark Hughes, a huge amount of squad turnover there. But Billy, I'll come to Dion Pereira first. Obviously, you know a lot about Luton. What do you make of this deal for the player and for Bolton?
It's crazy. It's crazy in my mind that they've on deadline day, after signing lots of wingers already, they've signed another two wingers. I think it's probably a sign of how they want to operate. They want good competition levels on the wing. It's a sign of the playing style, and I guess with Dion Pereira, they've had that sort of long-term interest in him, that if a deal was able to come around, that they'd take it. And I think that's what's happened in this case. I'm surprised from a Luton perspective that a League One loan move wasn't sanctioned, but that's only going to come to Bradford's benefit, because he really is that good. I wouldn't have been surprised if he stayed at Luton. I think just given the competition levels at Luton over the summer, it may have been a little bit difficult for him to see regular game time, but he really impressed in pre-season. Someone that undoubtedly has a big positive future at Luton as well. So yeah, all in all, a little bit surprised that he's gone down to League Two. I think League One would have been Luton's preferred destination, but given what he's done in the Bradford shirt, and I think mentioned in the report that there's unfinished business. So yeah, if it was going to be one League Two club, it would have been Bradford, and I'm sure he's going to have a really, really productive sort of spell there, similar to what he'd done last year.
Yeah, let's talk about Tyreek Wright then, a Republic of Ireland under-21 international. But the 20-year-old has had three spells in League Two already with Walsall, Salford and Colchester. He's not exactly pulled up trees, but could that experience, Billy, help him really sort of kick on this season for Bradford?
Yeah, as we say, it hasn't really had the most productive spells in terms of goals and assists, but he's somebody that brings positivity, somebody that drives defenders, commits defenders. Final product has been a little bit iffy, but I think playing in a Bradford side that will see lots of the ball, they're going to need game changers. You know, you can make 5 subs in the EFL now, so that's going to be a massive bonus for Bradford going into the rest of the campaign. Of course, we've mentioned there about the plethora of winger options at Bradford at the moment. It's going to be exciting to see who actually starts and who will have to miss out and be these kind of game changers. But Wright has the ability, he has the potential to come good. Of course, it hasn't fully worked out in any of his League Two loan moves so far, but I think Bradford are a club that suits the way he plays. They need someone to be positive, to take risks, and I think that's what Wright will bring.
Well, those are the 4 done deals that we're going to talk about today. And next we'll talk about some transfer rumours. We'll start then Billy, with Blackburn Rovers striker Ben Brereton Diaz, a player that's been talked about a lot, of course, in this transfer window. A huge season for him last season, and now into the last 12 months of his contract at Ewood Park. No suggestion that he's going to sign a new deal there. In fact, reports indicating that he won't be signing a new deal. Fulham, the latest club linked with a move. Sky Sports News has said that they're lining up a second bid after having their first one rejected. Everton, Aston Villa, Nice and Celta Vigo among the other clubs linked. Billy, Blackburn Rovers are said to want in excess of £50 million to let him leave. Do you think he'll be going today? And do you think that's a fair price?
It's a really difficult situation to assess. I thought it would have been done by now, but you look at what Blackburn value him at, you look at the bids that have come in so far, they're still very, very far away. Whether that can be resolved in what remains to be seen. But given that these Premier League clubs and clubs in the top flight are probably going to miss out on targets today, there might be business that they didn't know they could do. So in terms of what they can offer will probably change as the day comes. I don't think Blackburn are going to budge with their valuation. I think It was 20 million at one point. I don't think it's too different to that at the moment. We've seen what they were like with Adam Armstrong. They don't tend to bring down their valuations. They seem to be content with Brereton Diaz's situation. I know in terms of his contract, he's coming close to expiring, but at the same time, another season of Brereton Diaz could prove to be massive for Blackburn. Of course, they're going to be chasing down to the top 6 spots as the season progresses. So it's that kind of risk. Do you take Brereton Diaz for the rest of the year and potentially lose him on a free, or do you take around the £15 million mark and try and build from that? It's a difficult decision for the Blackburn hierarchy to make, but one that I'm sure will run on close to the closure of the window, one that probably could be one of those that goes beyond the 11 p.m. deadline.
Yeah, I think you're not wrong there. It's certainly one of the most talked about sort of players in the EFL over the last few months, and don't think that's going to change as we do approach that 11 p.m. deadline. Well, another striker that could be on the move today, Billy, is Swansea City's Michael Obafemi. Burnley are said to be lining up a second bid after seeing a first rejected. Russell Martin confirmed yesterday that an unnamed club had a bid rejected far below their valuation. Swansea's valuation said to be in excess of £10 million. Burnley not ready to meet that yet, but there's said to be encouragement, according to Lancashire Live, that a structured deal could be done before the deadline today. £10 million, obviously we were talking about the valuation of Brereton Diaz there. Billy, do you think a deal in excess of 10 million is a fair price for Obafemi? He's a young player, of course. They only paid 2 million for him. 12 goals for the Swans last season after a slow start. What do you make of that valuation?
Yeah, I think they've got every right to hold a valuation of above 10 million. Still very raw at the moment, but electric pace, plenty of scope to continue improving. I think playing in the Swansea team, you have to have ball playing attributes, which I think he's grown into. Somebody that can link the play, but also got that blistering pace to cause chaos. Always moving. Somebody that does all the off the ball work to suggest he's going to be a top player. On the ball, he's definitely improving. A little bit inconsistent with his finishing, but I'm sure that will come. But all in all, I think he's a top quality Championship striker that is going to succeed. I think he'll play Premier League football. I think he's the kind of player that will enjoy a very productive career. But at the moment, £10 million is probably about the right price. Got a contract running until 2024. But I think a lot of this, I guess the situation will probably be impacted by what happens with Joel Pirro. If Joel Pirro goes, I think that will automatically force Swansea to increase their valuation. You don't want to be losing Pirro and Obafemi in the same market, in the same window. Sorry, not too sure where the Pirro situation lies at the moment, but say if he does go, I think that Obafemi's price may be increased by 5 million just because of the fact that you don't want to lose your pretty much your entire strike force in one day. That will be disastrous in terms of trying to rebuild. Of course, Swansea have proven that they can recruit in forward areas very well, but it will be late on in the day and leave them in a very difficult position. I just can't see that happening. As we say, Swansea will be ambitious about what this season could possibly hold. It's been a slight struggle so far, but there's been signs of positivity. But if Pirro and Obafemi were to depart, it would be a massive blow for them.
Yeah, as you say, it's not a great market either at the moment to be signing strikers. Plenty of EFL clubs sort of struggling in that regard. Let's move on to Burnley in this one. Beyond Scott Twine, who I think company sort of suggested he sees as playing that number 9 role, but a lot of people, myself included, feel he's probably better served at Championship level, particularly given the physicality of it, playing as more of a playmaker. That leaves them with Jay Rodriguez, whose injury record has been pretty questionable in recent years, and Ashley Barnes, who was far from convincing in the early weeks of the window. I mean, in the early weeks of the season, rather. Striker was clearly a position of need for them. That they haven't brought one in. It's the last day. Do you make does Michael Obafemi to you look like a sort of really strong signing for them?
Yeah, it does, because if you look at the strike force at the moment as a collective, you do miss that kind of electric pace operating off the last shoulder of a defender. I think that's something that would complete and round their striking force at the moment. Of course, Obafemi would be a perfect addition for that. They've been interested in Cameron Archer. I think Liam Delap as well was on their wish list. So they have been looking at the kind of right options in my mind. It's just whether that can come to fruition in what remains. I think, as we say, a player that can operate off the last shoulder of the defender, can score goals at championship level is where they'll be looking at. And of course, they've got the money to do that. So I think that's a situation again that may go long into the night. Maybe they might have to go down the list of targets they've got to really try and just finish and polish off this Burnley team, because they've made some really, really eye-catching signings. They've, of course, it's a new project under Vincent Kompany, and it just seems that a striking option that again can operate off that last shoulder can probably put Burnley in a position where they can go on and expect big things this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it looks like it could be a busy day at Watford. They were obviously relegated alongside Burnley last season. A couple of players leaving there, amongst them Emmanuel Dennis, but so far they've managed to keep hold of a sort of in-demand forward duo, Ismail Assar and João Pedro. But reports today suggesting Aston Villa are back in for Ismail Assar, while Everton have had another bid rejected for João Pedro, and Newcastle continue to be linked. Billy, do you see either or both leaving before the deadline?
Well, yeah, I can see them both going, and being a biased Luton fan, but I think I can speak for pretty much every championship club. I think they would want to see the pair of them leave. They're very good players. They're proving already to have so much influence, particularly João Pedro. He's just been absolutely brilliant, levels above championship level, and it's no real surprise that's been somewhat of a not bidding war, because they've been rejected, but in terms of the interest that's surfaced, there's been lots of Premier League clubs named in their pursuit. But yeah, Pedro for me is one that will be integral to Watford's success if they see it this season. Sarr, again, Premier League level, but I think Pedro just has that more influence, that kind of playmaking abilities, but goal scoring touches as well. Sees the game quicker than most, and even against the best teams in this division, he's made defenses look silly so far. So it's going to be, again, we keep mentioning it. I can't imagine anything happening in the next couple of hours. Probably something that happens later on in the window. But for most most Premier League clubs as well, actually, signing João Pedro would be one hell of a coup.
Yeah, as you say, Championship fans will be hoping they go, but Hornets fans certainly hoping that at least one of them stays. But should Premier League clubs make sizable bids late in the late hours of today, it might be too hard to resist for Watford. Well, Billy, we'll wrap things up then with a Football League One exclusive. We understand that Ipswich Town are in talks with Brereton Albion over a deal for striker Ghassan Ahadme. He's got 5 goals in 7 games for the Brewers this term. It would be a bit of a late boost for Ipswich, really, Billy, wouldn't it? And a bit of extra added forward firepower for Kieran McKenna.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Ipswich and keeping up with a lot of Ipswich this season. I think the general feeling is that it's more of a desirable over a necessity. Ladapo starting the season off well enough. John Jules coming in and adding a completely different dynamic up front. Of course, the attacking firepower they've already got with Chaplin in and amongst it, and Wes Burns down the right, Leif Davis down the left. It's a squad that in my eyes is ready for the rest of the season. Is ready to challenge for the top 2 for the rest of the season. This would just be a kind of icing on the cake. Ahadme, a player that I think I've seen one journalist say had a really, really good game against Ipswich last season, and it's no surprise that he's on the on the wish list. A player that I think last pre-season with Portsmouth had a really prolific time. I think he scored 6 goals in 3 games against championship clubs, and he looked to be on this upward trajectory, catching the attention, but didn't quite materialise and work out at Portsmouth. Gone to Brereton and has had a really, really good time. A player that, again, has a lot of desirable attributes. He can go in behind and operate on the shoulder, but he can also come in and link the play. He can hold the ball up. Technically, he's very good, and he's got that goal scoring touch, as he's proven. So there's a lot to like about him. No surprise, a top League One club like Ipswich are interested in making a move. Whether it happens or not remains to be seen, because I think he's, given the interest that was in Hurst, it's likely that they're just going down the priority list now. They're going down the ranks, and I'm sure there's a fair few names on it.
Yeah, would be an exciting one, certainly, perhaps with a future in mind. Have they 21, of course, an interesting one, of course, given he spent so much of his career in the Norwich City Academy. That's the club that Burton Albion signed from him. Talking about the Brewers, Billy, this would be a really concerning time to lose your really, I guess, one of the few players that could really hold their heads up high after a poor start to the season. Burton bottom, of course. It would be a really, real huge worry for them were they to see how may go.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. It would be a massive blow. As I said, the player that brings so much to the striker positions. I look at Burton's squad, and I don't think they should be performing as badly as they have been so far. I still think something will click, and they'll get there. But as you say, Ahadme has been an important part as why it hasn't been probably disastrous at Burton so far. His ability to get in behind, score goals, create, and do everything you'd like from a striker. He's been an interesting one. And if he is to depart, I'm sure, again, given how late on in the window it is, it's going to be hard to recover from going into into the rest of the season with, striking options that you're not fully confident in. It's not going to be beneficial for a season that's shaping up to be a battle near the bottom of the league.
Yeah, certainly early days, of course, for Burton, but that would be an absolute hammer blow for their chances as they sit bottom of League One. Well, that is everything from myself and Billy on the EFL transfer zone today. But as I said at the top of the show, there are 3 EFL transfer zones today on deadline day. At 2 p.m, you'll be in the capable hands of Alfie Burns and Toby Wilding. And at 4:30 p.m, you'll be with Sam Rourke and Marcus Alley to keep you updated on all the latest done deals and transfer news. That just leaves me to say thanks, Billy, and thanks everyone for watching.